The Crab Shack on Princess Cruises is a seafood lover's dream. And in this video, I'll explain what the Crab Shack is, what to expect, and how much it's going to cost. And I'll let you know if I think that it's worth it. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. And the Crab Shack isn't actually a restaurant itself, but a pop-up dining experience. And on my sailing, it was only going to be held once at lunchtime on a sea day inside the Crown Grill. And just to make clear, the cost is not included within your cruise fare or part of any dining package. It costs $55 plus an 18% gratuity each to dine here, and today I'll be having lunch with my lovely mum. And there's a copy of the menu posted outside the restaurant so you can see exactly what the deal is. We were actually the first people to arrive, so we were sat very quickly. And it wasn't very long until the menus were brought out. And first of all was the drinks. And our server made clear that you don't get a choice of appetizer, in actual fact you get both. There was a choice of 3 main courses, although us and everybody else that we could see were going for the shared seafood bucket for 2. And then there was going to be a choice of a couple of different desserts. But I knew that this was going to be a rather messy experience, as we were given bibs to wear and there was no tablecloths but brown paper with the Crab Shack logo on it, which our wait team wrote their names on in the coloured pencils provided. And I'll be honest, tonight's cutlery looked pretty ominous. I could tell that I was really going to enjoy using these. And for my drink, I decided to go for the Princess Cruises classic rum cocktail, the Captain's Bounty. And the maitre d' gave my mum this fun handkerchief flower. And then it was time for the first of the appetizers. This was the popcorn shrimp and hush puppies, which came with the tartar sauce. And while this was nice enough, I didn't want to fill myself up with too much stodgy food at this stage. But the tartar sauce really was something a little bit special. And I've seen from others that the Crab Shack pops up in the buffet on board the ship, although I prefer to eat within the refined elegance of the Crown Grill, even if there were paper tablecloths. And I didn't have to wait too long until the next course came out, and it was this amazing sourdough bread roll, which was nearly filled to the brim with clam chowder. I really wish there was a way through YouTube that I could share the smell of this amazing dish. Now, I've had a fair few clam chowders in my time, but to have an actual clam shell with a clam inside the sourdough bread is a first for me. And I felt that this really was top drawer. You'd have to go a long way to get a better clam chowder than this. I think I got every last drop out of this bowl. And this is the brandy cocktail, horseradish cocktail and mignonette sauces. And now it's time for the big reveal. And I could hardly believe how large this seafood bucket was in real life. And the pot consisted of 2 lobster tails, 2 crab legs and 2 crab claws, along with 6 of the shrimp, mussels and clams and 2 crawfish which weren't even on the menu, along with a couple of slices of lemon and what I was reliably told was seaweed. And after admiring all the delicious food, I then had to devise a plan on how to get to work. My mum has some manual dexterity issues, so what I decided to do was to divvy up the food onto 2 plates and then just take all the shell off and then just leave the meat. So this shellfish cracker and lobster pick were going to come in really useful. Now, I've never had to use this cutlery on such a large scale before, but I quickly got the hang of it, and I don't think I did a particularly bad job. I managed to get most of the meat out. And to make things more simple, the lobster claw had already been pre-split. So it was just a case of removing the top section and then scraping out the meat beneath. and which thankfully came out pretty much whole. Getting to the meat on the snow crab legs was probably the ones I had the greatest difficulty doing. However, the meat there was the most sweet, so it did make all the effort worthwhile. And overall, each type of shellfish was delicious. I wanted to try some of the sauces out, so I dipped this prawn in the brandy cocktail sauce and the horseradish sauce for these mussels, both of which I found to be really tasty. And I tried this mussel and a couple of clams in the clarified butter that turned up a little later on. And this snow crab meat was also going into the brandy cocktail sauce, which is pretty much like a seafood sauce we have in the UK. While this piece went into the horseradish sauce, which has a lovely kick to it. And the clarified butter was the destination for this piece of lobster. And then the last couple of pieces of lobster and prawn I had on their own just to appreciate their own natural flavours. And once the main course was over, our server brought out some hot towels to clean ourselves up with. And to finish off the meal, there was a couple of desserts from the Sweet Shack. And my mum decided to go for the strawberry shortcake, which came with whipped cream and orange zest, which she said tasted very indulgent. While I chose the key lime pie in a jar, which tasted nice and tangy, very different to all the seafood that I had previously. It was just the perfect way to finish a fabulous meal. And only after I took my bib off did I notice what an absolute mess I'd made battling all that shellfish. Overall, I thought that this was a fantastic meal. The service was wonderful, the food was amazing, and it was well worth the money we paid. If you're thinking about trying out the Crab Shack, then I highly recommend doing so. Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. I'm going to have lots more videos from my Regal Princess, UK, Ireland and Northern Ireland cruise coming up very soon.